A lot of very good things have been projected here tonight, and it is particularly nice to be with Ted's family and hear about Ted while he was at the VA and long after, and the love and kindness he has had with his family, which is all important for all of us. And he never lost that, and but he also never lost his enthusiasm and his passion for VistA. And I think that happened to a lot of us. We got bitten, and Rob Clodner called me up. How come you can always make time to show VistA? I said, what better to do? And so at 7 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, at 12 in the afternoon, I would always pull up my little laptop and go wherever it needed to be demonstrated. And we had some beautiful ways of doing that with laptop capability, but all the way along, I mean way back in the early 80s, I had a portable, luggable machine that I could show VistA on. And obviously it got onto a DVD and was shown and inspired other people. But it is just always remarkable how this program drops the jaw of the people who see it. They cannot believe what they're looking at. And it is because of early vision by Ted and others. But clearly someone had to go on the line and make the initial gesture to have this happen. This didn't happen without a lot of pressure. It didn't happen with a lot of sacrifice. And I think of those who were called on to sacrifice, Ted may have paid the largest of the problems of anyone in our room. A lot of us took time out and were enthralled by this program and stayed in the VA because of this program, and others we attracted stayed. So it generated a whole host of intellectual capacity inside the VA, and is not described as electronic health record. It's described earlier as a model for healthcare. This was a model for healthcare, and it has changed the way we treat people. And we now have very good evidence that the VA sets benchmarks for taking care of diabetes, taking care of hypertension, taking care of people with coronary artery disease and their lipid values. We do the best. I just came from New York City, where with Dr. Clodner's help, I presented to 500,000 patients with hypertension. And that we all knew could happen. I mean, we knew when we were putting this together, this was a database that we could draw on and talk from and make better the lives of the veteran patients. But in those things I showed, a decade of patients from 15 cities improving their ability to control hypertension from 40% to 75%. That's a lot of lives saved. That's a lot of strokes avoided. This is a change in healthcare. It is not just a record. It's just not a convenient way to represent what's going on with the patient. It changes the way you are able to care for the patient in large numbers, and that's why the VA now is a benchmark for healthcare, and that was Ted's contribution. He started it, and he sacrificed the most of any of us. And we feel very bad about the sacrifice, but we're very glad he started it. There have been other comments that have been made through the talks. One of them I liked a lot is my authority is I have no authority. I was chief of cardiology. I mean, you say, why are you coming out with a healthcare record? Well, I was never told to do anything with a healthcare record. What you're told not to do, as you've learned with your own kids, you do. Reaction formation happens to everybody. So here is this wonderful thing, and it's down the hall, and all of a sudden I'm involved in it, and it just answers lots of questions for lots of my problems. In all of the cardiology work that we were doing, to be able to put the data together and look and see what we were doing in an aggregate way helped our patients a great deal and made a very organized department out of what had previously been very difficult to manage. And that happened everywhere. The other comment that I heard, which I like a lot, is go to the DC hospital and see what they have. A lot of people have been doing that. And many of the people in this room have been to the DC hospital, and we continue to this day, probably twice a week, demonstrate what the record is today. And the record is a lot of things that go beyond the record itself. We roll up the data in data warehouses. We can send to each person in their, where they're taking care of their patient exactly their measures, their performance measures in taking care of diabetes and hypertension by the doctor. And they click on a little dot and they see all the patients. Well, this is all coming out of the healthcare record. How can they be able to do this any other way except to have this happen? They can speak, and Dragon Naturally Speaking puts it right on the record, and they save another 2 hours, and they love it. But time and time again, in a little video I show, I see two doctors saying, I want to see this everywhere. The doctors love it. How did that happen? Well, that happened because the idea was to have the record developed by programmers, but developed with people like Rob, people like myself. And we were all involved in things like the SIOGs and the CARGs and the IRACs. Now, I don't think we'd call that name these days, but there was such a thing. I mean, you probably know the alphabet soup was amazing. It would change every year, and everybody would think this was a whole new way of doing things, a whole new vision on how to do things. And it was always the same, and sometimes a lot of the same players. But I'm glad they changed the names and not the players, because it's been a lot of fun. So we have gone from where we were in battle, and fires were set, and gas tanks were polluted, and all kinds of things were happening when Ted was in the fray and made his sacrifice. And we have gone from that to a record that lots of people love, lots of people mimic, as Rob mentioned, and is being seen by people from not just Jordan, where it is applied, but Tunisia and Iraq and Afghanistan, and of course Mexico has already applied it. These folks keep coming in, as does everyone from the Hill, and Rob used to bring more senators and congressmen than anybody I knew over to our place, but they still come, and they still see what is a very good system. And I think they're impressed by what they see initially and what we show, but when they get up on the wards and they see the young doctors who've never seen a way of taking care of patients before, dealing for the first time with an electronic health record and loving what they see, knowing they can treat their patients better, and these young doctors say it right out loud and very clearly, time after time. They're even asked, have you seen other records? Yes, but they're not nearly as good as this record. Somebody's from the military, and they said, no, this is the best record. And it's time and time again. Somehow we started it right with the right ideas, having this tight relationship between providers and programmers and administrators, and that was a great way of going forward. It is the way we should continue to go forward, but a lot of us are worried that that might not happen. But keeping this idea of the originators of the record alive in the hard hats meetings is terrific. And Ted, Tom, I want to make a special thanks to you for having set this all up and having actually had the heart to include everybody that you can imagine, and doing a lot of this work, and most of all recording it so others can see it time after time again on the web and everything else. You've done a spectacular job, and I think we all owe you a debt of thanks as well. Thank you.